State has the ball. Northwestern won the toss. They deferred. Penn State receives. And after the Jack Olson kickoff, here's a run and a fumble. Nick Singleton lost the ball, and we won't see Penn State on offense to begin the game because they turned it over for the first time this season. And again, the first turnover all year. Penn State had forced 11. They had not committed any. This one is at the 11. And it's an underneath throw. The catch is made by Thomas Gordon. Northwestern in the red zone. 12 trips, 10 times scoring a touchdown this year. They start at the 11. They had an incompletion. Now it's a running play inside for Cam Porter for the first positive yards of the game, a 4-yard pickup. Ben Bryant, Cincinnati, Eastern Michigan, and then Cincinnati. Last week in the last 5 quarters of the game, 5 drives of the game, I should say, in their comeback against Minnesota. The numbers were very, very good for Ben Bryant as they recovered from the 21-point deficit.
His teammates and the coaching staff said, hey, this is what we've seen in practice. We know he's capable of it, but it was a matter of putting it on tape. And when they needed him most, he was there and ready. That last final drive to tie up the game is nothing short of impressive.
With 2 seconds left, he found A.J. Henning with the tying touchdown pass. And then threw one to Charlie Mangieri in overtime. And bringing pressure on 3rd and 12, and it's a tough catch out on the edge. The catch is made at the 15-yard line by A.J. Henning, but it will move them back again. A penalty moved them back 5 yards, and a negative play on the reception for 2 yards has them pushed back to the 15. See the numbers on Jack Olson this year. 2 of 2 on field goals, made from 37 and 40, and now he's curled one in from 33 yards away.
In a fast change situation, Penn State's defense back against the wall. They forced Northwestern backwards, which is a win.
Jack Olson kicked off for the first time. Luke Akers kicks off this time, and the ball to the end zone for a touchdown. First scrimmage play of the game for the Nittany Lions is an inside handoff to the 25-yard line. And now McLaughlin is out of the game. Jalen Pate has gone in on the defensive line for Northwestern. And a quick throw and a catch made by Dante Cephas. Cephas is a yard short of the first down. You've got Dinkins, Warren, and Johnson all as tight ends. And they are trying to push Drew Aller over the line. And it's right up to the 35-yard line, the line to gain. And it will be a first down. Theo Johnson went in motion. Lambert Smith was lined up on the right side. The throw is to Singleton out of the backfield on a first down play for the 35-yard line. Kirk Fletcher reported before kickoff. Theron Johnson is out since Ore Adai is the other starter at corner alongside Hollis. McLaughlin still hasn't returned to the game from his early injury. And there's a plunge for a yard on second down. Northwestern's defense on third down is 6th in the Big Ten this year. It's a clean pocket for Drew Aller, but it's a high throw looking for Lambert Smith right at the 45-yard line, and it falls incomplete.
Yeah, so Lambert Smith was running a little bit of a shallow route, and you have a choice here in football. If you're looking, you're booking, as they say. If you're looking at the quarterback, you got to keep running. But if it's zone, you have an opportunity to sit down. You see, there's a little miscommunication there. Drew Aller's leading him, but right next to Keandre Lambert Smith is Bryce Gallagher. So a miscommunication and a good job by Northwestern's defense to get off the field.
To punt it away, Riley Thompson. They picked up 1 first down, and then the drive stalls out. Riley Thompson averages 42 yards per punt amongst those 215 yards last week for Bryce Kurtz. There were 2 touchdown receptions as well. Back to throw, Bryant under pressure, able to elude Kobe King once, but not a second time. Robinson also part of that pressure as well, and Bryant goes down for a sack and a loss of 3 yards.
5 yards is better than -3.
Which is what happened. It's a turning toss. Cam Porter looking to cut inside. Open field tackle, Kobe King, again part of that play. 4 out of 5 plays on offense for Northwestern have been negative yardage plays so far in the game. Remember that last week, Penn State limited Iowa to 76 yards. This is a positive yardage play and a pass to Bryce Kurtz, but not for much. Forced out of bounds just outside the 16. The rugby punt by Hunter Renner. And the fair catch is made by Caden Saunders, a 40-yard punt. And Penn State has their best field position on their second drive of the game. It is an early kickoff, and more on that in just a moment. But Penn State with Drew Aller at quarterback and 3 receivers on a play on the opening play of this drive, starting at the 44. Moving left, making 2 players miss, and then lowering his shoulder and seeking out contact is Singleton, who runs into Gallagher, and it's a gain of 9. And now both of their outstanding running backs are in the game, Singleton and Katron Allen. And Allen absorbs contact, spins and fights over the line to gain for the first down. 2-yard pickup to the 45 of the Wildcats.
You know his nickname is Fat Man.
Yes.
So they call him Fat Man. I'll just call him Get Your Legs Tournament. I mean, that's just a good job of lower body strength. 220-pound plus running back. Really, he did that on his own. Contacted behind the line of scrimmage and just fought.
He's run the ball more than Singleton, 10 more carries this season. Allen has 63 carries, and he has his 64th and 65th of the season with back-to-back runs on this drive. Past the 40 to the 39 for a gain of 6. Liam Clifford is the receiver in motion, and Aller, and he throws incomplete on the play fake, looking for tight end Tyler Warren on 3rd down and 4 at the 39. Bear in mind that Penn State is 8 of 9 on 4th downs this year, and they have a 4th down decision at 4th and 1 after the run by Singleton and tackle by Xander Mueller.
Well, what do you think here? What do you think we'll see? We saw it earlier on 3rd and 1. We've seen it on tape a number of times. It's one of those things that you should run it until it's proven to be stopped, and so far no one has stopped the old Bush push formation.
And remember when USC playing Notre Dame ran a quarterback sneak and Reggie Bush got up behind the quarterback and pushed him forward.
That is a false start.
They are not going to reconsider the decision to go for it despite the penalty, moving it back 5 yards. We have 5 minutes left of the first quarter. Northwestern scored on the opening drive after Penn State fumbled the opening kickoff. And here's a throw on target for a first down. And they go to Dante Cephas, second catch of the game. This one of significance, 15 yards and converting a 4th and 6.
So look, here he is. He's going to be running a dig right over the middle of the field. So this is a good job by Drew Aller, because watch that linebacker underneath. He's sitting right in the throwing lane, but he lets it uncover.
Jake, they go tempo here, and the check down throw, and it's Singleton who has a first down and a lot more to the 11-yard line of Northwestern.
And they're getting back up to line up to get tempo once again. The pressure all of a sudden is on Northwestern's defense.
The 4th and 6 conversion has lifted some life and energy into what's happening on the offensive side of the ball for Penn State. They did not short circuit despite the false start penalty on Theo Johnson on 4th and 1 that moved them back. First Cephas, then Singleton, and now from the 11-yard line and looking for a hole, and there is a hole. And tripped up by Garnett Hollis. Singleton lunges down inside the 5-yard line. They'll spot him around the 3. Singleton headed the line, keeps turning his legs, but only back to the line of scrimmage. Setting up 3rd down and goal. Aller, blitz was picked up, throws over Johnson, incomplete. From Tulsa, Oklahoma, and a transfer from Columbia, Alex Melkins is the kicker, and his 20-yard field goal has leveled the game at 33. Gabe Wosu with the kickoff. A.J. Henning, the transfer from Michigan, found one seam, made another man miss. He's run down from behind, though, on special teams. He stayed on his feet for extra yards past the 40. Good return by Henning. He's still down right now. 36-yard kickoff return. You don't see plays of that significance in kickoff returns too often. Cam Porter, running back. Thomas Gordon at tight end was in motion. He chips at defensive end, and it gives Bryant enough time to throw. Bryant's pass, intended for Cam Johnson, is off target on 1st down.
A noble receiver downfield. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Johnson, a transfer from Vanderbilt and Arizona State. 4 years at Vandy, a year at Arizona State. The penalty was on Caleb Tiernan, and now in trouble. Bryant is wrapped up. Josiah Izzard. 7 career sacks now for Izzard. Here's a positive play, a little juggle, but a catch, a spin near the first down, just shy of it. On 2nd and long is Cam Johnson. See that Northwestern third down conversion number, nearly 48%. They've improved 10 percentage points from last year. A hole for Cam Porter, and Porter patiently is able to maneuver his way to the Penn State defense, enough for a first down. And watch this, Jake, because Jack Lausch is in the game. Now, Lausch sometimes lines up under center. They have him positioned. He just backed off the line of scrimmage. Now he's going in motion.
He's coming at the bottom of your screen by that scoreboard.
And again in motion. And it's a jet sweep, and Lausch, this play's been turned inside. I believe that was denied Dennis Sutton, number 33 for Penn State, who set the edge, Jake, and turned the play inside. There's also a marker down right there in midfield.
And it's going to be on Northwestern here. Let's stick with the call, but Lausch kind of playing that Taysom Hill type role. Tried to get around the call. I thought he should have cut that one up. When you're struggling, take the yards you can get rather than going for the home run.
For the call here,
illegal formation. Offense at more than 4 in the backfield. That penalty is declined. 2nd down.
Final seconds running out at the end of the first quarter. Let's see if Northwestern will snap it.
This is the
will not.
Of the first quarter.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Senior from Farmington Hills, Michigan. Slot corner, nickel back. We saw him in action there. Terweiler on 3rd down and 11. And that is off target again behind Lambert Smith, who is covered by Garnett Hollis Jr. And Penn State will have to send Riley Thompson out to punt. 16 of 21 catches this year had been for first downs for Lambert Smith. That was what they were looking for there. A.J. Henning is back and returning this punt. He's already had a good kickoff return in the game, and a really positive punt return, breaking a couple of tackles and wedging his way up to the 41-yard line. The punt was 48. The return for Henning was 13. After a return of 13 yards on a punt by A.J. Henning, there's a pass complete to midfield to Cam Johnson. Pass play to Cam Johnson went for 9 yards. Now Porter runs and spins and has the first down. They're playing with passion today, especially on defense, but their offense is having trouble getting out of the gate. Adisa Isaac just sacked Ben Bryant. Back at the 45-yard line of the Wildcats for a loss of 8.
Boy, isn't suffocating a great word for the Penn State defense?
Outstanding bookends as the defensive ends for Penn State. That's 9.5 career sacks now for Adisa Isaac. There's a marker down, a tackle made of Cam Porter by Kobe King. It's a positive pickup if the play stands.
3rd down.
But this is their 4th time of 3rd and 10 or more in the game. Now, they did get a key Ben Bryant scramble late in the game against Minnesota last week. He's not scrambling here, but he is throwing in the flat to an open Cam Porter, who ran through 2 and 3 tackles and a first down. That is just tough running, Jake, after the catch, and a 3rd and 10. We talk about converting 3rd and long, and Northwestern just did it. Picked up 17 on 3rd down and 16. There's pre-snap movement on a play for the 36-yard line of Penn State.
Offside. Defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Joseph Hyman is in the game at running back. He hasn't run the ball terribly effectively this year, but he does have a long reception of 85 yards for a touchdown against UTEP. And Bryant will keep it at the mesh point and then picks up a first down. Remember, that was 1st and 5 after Izzard's offside call on first down. This certainly is the most successful stretch of play on the offensive side of the ball for the Wildcats. Started after an A.J. Henning punt return. Put them a few yards shy of midfield, and they're on the move and throwing and looking for the tight end, Mangieri, who caught the winning pass last week, and the play's broken up by Abdul Carter.
You know, as a former tight end, this is one of my favorite plays. We call this the wide throwback. Mangieri starting on the right side of the offensive line and leaking left, and there was a couple play actions there. So he initially started as a blocker and leaks out. It tests the discipline of the defense to see, can you stick with your man even when he's not initially running the route? Well, there you see it, Abdul Carter.
extremely disciplined.
Second down and 10, and Bryant underneath. Caught right in the breadbasket for Cam Johnson, still going! And has a first and goal. Cam Johnson all the way down to the 2-yard line. Last week, Bryce Kurtz led the way in the receiving game with 10 catches. That's 3 for Cam Johnson today, and that's a big one. Officially, 22 yards. First and goal, Cam Porter looking for something to open up. Stretches the ball for the end zone. He's down. No team in FBS going into today had not turned the ball over. Penn State was the only one, and then they turned it over on the opening kickoff. And now, Duke Olgas, the tight end, lines up behind Ben Bryant on the quarterback sneak, tries to push him forward, and there's the indication. It is a touchdown for the Northwestern Wildcats, and they go in front at home. Here's Jack Olson out of the hold of Hunter Renner to extend the lead to 10-3. Splits the sticks, 5:46 left in the second quarter. They lead 6th-ranked Penn State, unbeaten through 4 games. Starting fast, finishing strong is what James Franklin wanted to see out of his team today. And they tripped right out of the gate. That's a 4-yard run on first down. Recall, opening kickoff fumble. Penn State was the last team in FBS not to commit a turnover this year before that opening kickoff fumble.
He got lucky on another one, too. Remember, Rod Hurd punched the ball out, almost had another turnover.
There's a play fake. Aller's 11th throw of the game. He completed, Drew Aller, his first 9 passes last week against Iowa. With that incompletion, Aller is now 5 of 11.
This is a great test for a young quarterback because he's not in it right now. His head is not where it's been throughout the majority of this season. And that one, he had Liam Clifford on a slant. And then a complete miscommunication on the outside with your receivers. You got to point to one thing to get him going, and we haven't seen that yet.
On 3rd down and 6. Some pressure off the edge. And that is a poor throw that appeared it might have been tipped at the line of scrimmage. Incompletion. Richie Haggerty may be the player who got a fingertip on the ball. Haggerty, 2 years at Miami of Ohio, 2 years at Southern Illinois. Now his first year at Northwestern. Tipped that ball. Aller is one of his last 6. There's a low rolling punt though for Riley Thompson. Northwestern, you saw on the screen, 53 total yards this quarter, although that number is going down, and it's going to go down by quite a bit. Penn State swarms to Anthony Tyus III, and the junior from Portage, Michigan, loses 6. 2nd down and 16, Thomas Gordon in motion. Bryant looking, low throw, incomplete, trying to find Donnie Gray, who's caught 1 pass this year. Well, they converted a 3rd and 16 with a 17-yard pass to Porter on the last drive. That's not going to happen this time. Chop Robinson, the first contact of Anthony Tyus. You also saw Johnny Dixon, the transfer 2 years ago from South Carolina, part of the play as well. And starting safety Kevin Winston Jr., who displaced Keaton Ellis, who was a 12-game starter last year. Manny Diaz said yesterday about the sophomore Winston, you just notice and feel his presence, and that's why he elevated this year into a bigger role as part of a group of 4 really good safeties that Manny Diaz feels like they have in their rotation. Punt back to Caden Saunders, backpedaling, short pickup, pushed out of bounds. Northwestern in front, 10-3. From the 37, a gain of 2 on a first down run for Nick Singleton.
How do you respond when things aren't going your way? Can you bounce back from a slow start?
Back to throw and a completion, and it's DeAndre Lambert-Smith, and nearly tight-roped it, stayed in bounds off the push by Garnett Hollis Jr. And now Lambert-Smith is wide to the short side of the field. And he throws Singleton. Singleton surges inside the 25 to the 24 for a first down, gain of 13. Penn State has started moving quickly. Singleton, there was a hole. He ran out of 1 tackle and is down to the 15. Short of the first down, but a 9-yard run on first down puts them on schedule. Bethune-Cookman transfer R.J. Pearson, number 94 for Northwestern, had that contact at the line of scrimmage. And now some misdirection, and it's an end around for Lambert Smith, and it's well defended. The pursuit is there for Northwestern along the sideline to bring down Lambert Smith. Minnesota transfer, Trey Potts is in the game, and he's the sidecar to Drew Aller in the backfield. And it's Potts running. Nice cutback into open space, and in for a touchdown, Trey Potts. First one of the season. Trey Potts, the transfer, runs it in from 13 yards out.
Touchback.
Conference matchups last week for both teams. Penn State defeated Iowa. Northwestern with a win over Minnesota. And there certainly has been a carryover effect from their rally, trailing by 21 late in the third quarter to win the game 37-34 in overtime. Defense, they got home again, denied Dennis Sutton, the first player there, but so were Hakeem Beeman and Jordan Vandenberg. Denied Dennis Sutton, part of that sack a moment ago, the fourth of the day for Penn State. They used the first of their 3 timeouts, and this has been Bryant, and he hangs on to the ball in the zone read and takes it to the outside, past the 20-yard line. Ben Bryant helps out Penn State. He just throws the ball away out of bounds. It's down to 1 minute. Nittany Lions get to conserve that last time out, Jay.
My goodness, I mean, I can't understand the philosophy there if you're Northwestern.
And he's ready to kick it to Caden Saunders. And he needed to be quick on operation time because he was under heavy duress. The punt is out of bounds. As you said before the kickoff, this half is by no means over. There's a long throw, and Ori Adai started today with Karen Johnson. Picked up a knock late in the game last week against Minnesota, unavailable in the game, and he breaks up a pass intended for Lambert Smith. With 50 seconds left in the half. And Aller, and he's hit as he throws. Going into the motion, he pounces back on the ball, but the pressure came from Anto Saka. We've seen that from him this year consistently.
Their best pass rusher.
Penn State, the third and final charge. Will be 30 seconds.
That's clearly a fumble, right? Northwestern's only rushing 4, so this Penn State O-line, they have numbers. Caden Wallace working one-on-one against Saka and gets smoked right off the bat. Drew Aller just didn't see him coming at all.
And you're spot on, it's a fumble. Saka clearly makes contact with his right forearm before the arm is going forward.
Yeah, and I wonder with how much Penn State has struggled offensively this half. Do you just run the ball? And do you just get into halftime with the tie game? Do you punt it away, or do you maybe look at the off coverage by Penn State and take a shot, maybe a double move?
3rd and 19. Clean pocket, Aller. Down low to Theo Johnson. Johnson across the 45 to the 47. Now will Northwestern, after this 11-yard play, call a timeout. The final seconds running off the clock. And the first half comes to its conclusion. And you can see it in the players on the field, and you can hear it and feel it from the home crowd at Ryan Field. There is something in the air right now as this game reaches halftime, 10-10. Now the second half is about to start. A.J. Henning to return. Dave Lucy's kickoff, 4-yard line. Henning hits the hole. And down at the 25-yard line. There is no commanding lead held by Northwestern and Penn State in this game. It's all square at 10 with the second half underway. Cam Porter in the backfield and running the ball. And hit after a pickup of a yard, maybe 2. Jalen Reed at safety with the tackle. He has some time right now and throws it over Cam Johnson. Johnson got a hand on it, but the pass is incomplete, and the unfriendly prospect of 3rd down and 9 staring Northwestern in the face. They have converted a 3rd and 16 today. That's been one of the high points for Northwestern on offense. That happened on their touchdown drive. This is 3rd and 9, back shoulder throw. Looking for the defending Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week, Bryce Kurtz, and it's incomplete and a punt. Started to come off the edge, but this is a delay handoff to Singleton. This drive for Penn State at the 32, and a pick up a 4 on 1st down.
Can you get some fire in your belly?
Singleton running again, and Singleton dragged down by Richie Haggard. Pulled him forward near the 40. This is another 4-yard run. Well, 4-yard runs, while not sexy, Jake, do put you on schedule for a much more manageable 3rd down. 3rd down, this is a long 2 needed for the Nittany Lions, the number 6 team in the country, and a throw is right into the hands of Tyler Warren for the 1st down, converted with ease.
That was a good catch too, because that ball was on him quick and it was on his back shoulder. I think Tyler Warren it was a zone coverage. I think Drew Aller was expecting him to kind of button hook up and sit down, but he ran out. Nonetheless, he comes down with the football.
And now Aller faked a deep ball, then flushed from the pocket and unloads it out of bounds. This is an empty backfield. Patron Allen not an option to be in the backfield right now. He's not on the sideline. We'll continue to investigate further news in that regard. Dante Cephas, the intended receiver, and Kenny Soares Jr., a linebacker who can cover, Jake, makes the play defensively.
Well, that's your matchup, right? You mentioned that's a linebacker on a wide receiver. So Drew Aller's making the correct read. Now he's off with his accuracy. That's going to be upfield, but when you have a wide receiver on a linebacker, you have to win in that situation. But Kenny Soares doesn't want to hear that. He's going to bat that thing down 1st, 3rd, and long.
David Gronk said he's a dynamic hybrid athlete, very good on-ball nickel pass rusher. Here's a throw, and it's caught 3rd down, tiptoeing down the sideline. Keandre Lambert-Smith cuts inside, and Coco Azava hangs on. Lambert-Smith had the previous long play for Penn State today at 25 yards. That reception for 35. And Xander Mueller, he plants Singleton. He ran it off the right side for a yard. Aller's up in the high 60s for the year in completion percentage. And he's looking to throw. No, he'll tuck it under and run on 2nd down and 9. There's a marker down. Running out of a tackle at the 10-yard line was Aller, and down to the 6.
During the run, holding, defense number 7. After distance to the goal, from the end of the run, 1st down.
Coordinator Mike Gerson says that oftentimes quarterbacks lose their momentum in a quarterback sneak when the defense undercuts the offensive line. When you push the quarterback, you can drive him, and you keep his balance vertical. But they're not going sneak. Handoff, Singleton, and he tries to stay vertical, but down he goes. Picked up a yard, but got the yard short. Love talking quarterback sneaks with him yesterday, and they're trying to run it again. And Aller spun to the right, and then Dinkins pushing. And in the rugby scrum right at the goal line, Northwestern with the leverage. They dig in, and it's 4th and goal at the 1-foot line. It's 4th and goal from 1 foot away to take their first lead in the game, and they push Aller into the end zone. Touchdown, Penn State. The quarterback sneak successful on 4th down and goal. Northwestern, they bowed up. It took 4 plays for Penn State to go those last 3 yards as the Nittany Lions, the number 6 team in the country, lead for the first time today. Case in point, at the end of that drive, they needed 4 plays to cover the last 3 yards. 2 quarterback sneaks, 3 quarterback sneaks as a matter of fact, and the 3rd one on 4th down finally put them in the end zone. And Dominic DeLuca with the tackle on special teams. A.J. Henning goes down at the 22-yard line. Penn State just had a tone setter to open up the 3rd quarter.
Delay game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
To 1st and 15 from the 17. Incomplete pass. By the way, Jake, to your point about going backwards for Northwestern, they have 9 negative plays today. Got an incompletion here for Johnson. As you saw, Bryant started out today 7 out of 8, but Ben Bryant, 6 straight incompletions. He runs under the defense and looks to scramble on 3rd down and long. He goes down right at the line to gain the 32. It is a 1st down.
And just short of the 32-yard line. Therefore, the score back.
On 4th down, and Olgus, the tight end, looking to push Ben Bryant forward, and once again, it's another rugby scrum. You said it a minute ago, Jake, and if I may do my best, John Facenda, who would say this for NFL films, this is football.
Yeah. You could almost put this in black and white. When they line up in that, throw it in black and white.
Rolling on the field, the short
Wow.
of the line again.
Wow. And in that sea of bodies, it would be really hard to envision a shot of a replay that can overturn it. It is a 4th down hold on a 3rd down scramble that set up a 4th down and inches. Northwestern went for it between their own 31 and 32, and Abdul Carter and Tyler Elston made the stop on a quarterback sneak. There's a run to the 29 by Singleton. The running duties have all been done by Singleton here in the 2nd half, and also he flares out to catch a pass, and he's wrestled down from behind right near the line of scrimmage. And Potts is in the game. He's left the backfield empty, incomplete. When Alex Felkins was at Columbia, his career long was 53. His season long in his first season with the Nittany Lions is 46. Looking for 47, and what a job by Wiley Thompson to pull down a high snap, and Felkins drills that 47-yard field goal. 17 straight points for Penn State. This is not a good place to be for Ben Bryant, spinning and retreating and having to just heave it out of bounds.
Quarterback made it outside the box. There's no foul for intentional grounding.
Last week, Iowa had 4 first downs in the whole game against Penn State. Northwestern has 5 today. They haven't had one in well over 14 minutes of game time. Bryce Kurtz catches that pass, and now it's 3rd down and 4 coming up.
Right on cue. I mean, that's exactly what you need. If you don't complete that, it's 3rd and 10 once again, and Penn State's elite defensive line is teeing off on you. Now in 3rd and 4, the playbook's wide open. You can go to a number of different things. Northwestern's in empty here. Let's see if they motion the running back back. It looks like they're going to motion the running back to get a man-zone read.
Bryce Kurtz had 10 catches last week. That's just his 2nd one today. This is 4 yards to go on 3rd down compared to Northwestern's average today of 12.2.
Off coverage up top, free access.
But not looking up top, Ben Bryant looked the other direction the whole time. He got hit as he threw the ball, and he short hops it. Abdul Carter on pressure and delivering a hit to Ben Bryant. The 1st down drought continues for Northwestern. It's a fake. It is a fake. They've snapped it to someone in the shield who is stopped. They went with the tight end Manchiri, and on 4th and 4, he's stopped 1 yard short.
1st down.
This is 2 times. Northwestern went for it on 4th down inside their 35 and didn't make it. The first one cost them 3 points. This one might cost them 7, but Singleton runs out of real estate before being escorted out of bounds to the wide side of the field by Devin Turner. That went for 16. This is the 3rd Penn State offensive series of the 3rd quarter. We have yet to see Katron Allen on the field. Aller looked to Singleton as a safety valve and eventually goes that way. Up the sideline and out of bounds after a short gain on the pass to Singleton. Ray Potts is in the game. Potts a cutback and knocked off his feet inside the 10-yard line.
See all this space off the line of scrimmage out to the field. There's a lot of space down towards the bottom of your screen here.
On 3rd down, running play, Potts needed the 5, and a last-second surge drives him across the 5 for a 1st down and goal. Penn State made a play, and now can they punch it in? Down to near the 1 yard line on a run on 1st and goal, Nick Singleton. They did throw to Dinkins in one of these apparent quarterback sneak situations last week, but they've got the tight ends lined up traditionally, and they'll flare it out, and Singleton catches it. Touchdown, Penn State.
coverage. Looks like Ben Bryant is checking a route to his running back.
Got a ball away, and it is to his running back, Cam Porter, incomplete. Play fake on 2nd and 10. Pocket is collapsed. Fisher chasing, denied Dennis Sutton chasing. Down goes Bryant, sliding at the 30.
Checking protection. They're expecting the blitz. I think they're going to drop out of it.
And it's an inside throw on the slant, and it's caught. First down. Johnson that does convert a first down.
He's been their #1 guy to convert first downs.
Here's Ben Bryant under pressure. Bryant got it away, throws it up for grabs. And you had Cam Miller just turning and seeking out the ball. And now there's a late flag that comes in. This is well after the conclusion of the play when that flag was thrown with 14 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 5. This is first of the game that leads to disqualification. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Both teams have 4 penalties today. That a costly one because it moves the sticks for Northwestern, and a wide open reception is made, and going up for the hurdle and getting blasted. Thomas Gordon got drilled, but this is 3 first downs now on the drive for Northwestern. Start of the 4th quarter. Does Northwestern have another big comeback in them? They start the 4th quarter with Cam Porter cutting to the outside. He is undercut by King, Kalen King, on the tackle near the 20-yard line.
When they've been at their best.
They have outscored opponents 45-7. Catch Cam Johnson. Gordon, a block. Johnson, a broken tackle, and another one, and down inside the 8-yard line, out of bounds along the near side, 1st and goal.
It's a good job by Johnson because that route screen is designed to stay outside, but he weaved it all the way back in and then worked his way back out as Penn State's defense was in pursuit.
8-yard line, 1st and goal. Bryant, quick throw, Kurtz stretching for the end zone, and he didn't even officially catch it. Incomplete. Henning in motion, they fake the jet sweep. It is a roll and throw, and it's caught, so they do have a pass play for Duke Olgis. In this case, they've moved the 2 tight ends. Now it's straight I formation. Oh, off the edge! Big pressure coming in, and a sack by Zane Durant.
Officials come out.
A field goal attempt here for Jack Olson, and Olson hits his 2nd field goal today. Marker down, kick return. Hardy still on his feet, but stopped ultimately at the 20-yard line.
There's no foul for an illegal low block. The contacts begin at the waist. First down, defend the run.
A stretch of 24 consecutive points coming to an end with the Northwestern field goal. Here's Drew Aller. He's got 2 options out in front of him, and he puts it right on to number 1. DeAndre Lambert-Smith steps out of bounds into 32 for 12. Ranked 7 in every poll until this past week when Penn State jumped over USC. And that's incomplete for Drew Aller on first down. Singleton. The short run on 2nd down. 2 yards at the most. 3rd and long. They face from their own 34. 3rd down and 8. Aller under a bit of pressure. Incomplete.
Walk it!
With Bryant now out of the game after that last sack by Durant, and Brendan Sullivan, who is now 9 of 11 throwing the football this year. That is a short completion out on the right side for a yard to Joseph Hyman. 2nd down and 9. Anthony Tyus is the running back. He picked up Abdul Carter, and then big pressure. Izzard flushed Sullivan from the pocket. Oh, it's a fumble snap. Sullivan picks it back up, and he's trying to turn it into something. It is a positive play, but it's far short of the 9 yards they need. Just lunging forward for a yard and a half. Manny Diaz called defensive end. Oh my goodness, poor punt by Renner. And Penn State in a very advantageous spot. Here's the shot they're looking to take from the 40-yard line. And at the back of the end zone, it's incomplete for Dante Cephas. And the report from the field is that the photographer who was on the wrong end of that collision with Dante Cephas is okay. Now second down and 10 for the 40. Singleton waiting for something to open up. It does not. This is a really important moment in the game. Penn State dipped it. Very good field position. But Northwestern keep hope alive with a stop 3rd and 8. Caught inside. That's the man they go to. Again, 16 of his 21 catches going into today for first down. Backup linebacker at that. Here's another shot and another incompletion. That time trying to dial up Omari Evans. That end zone is not the place. You're not living right if you're a photographer down there right now.
Keep your head on a swivel, as they say, right?
Singleton running, net in the hole. Well done by Coco Oswald. Trey Potts is the player that's gone out of the backfield to leave it empty. Aller has looked left the whole time, and he puts it right on the money to Liam Clifford, out of bounds to the 15. Mark Followill, Jake Butt in the booth, and down on the sideline, Brooke Fletcher. And here is a quarterback draw. Drew Aller looking for room, and down at the 5-yard line, half-yard shy of the first down.
Holding, offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty for a spot on the foul. First down.
Right guard Sal Wormley. Trying to keep this as a 14-point game. Tyler Warren, first grabbed by Uline. Aller to throw. Forced out of the pocket. Story's the closest to him. He finds Warren. Warren bringing it back into the middle of the field, and a couple of missed tackles along the way, and Warren gains back a lot of the penalty yardage to the 7. Now on 3rd and short. Cut back. First down picked up. Nick Singleton. Singleton picked up the first down. Aller, and this is just a straight quarterback keep off to the right side, cuts back to the left, and driven down.
Drew Aller, the ball carrier.
And now it's taken over 4 minutes, and it's capped with a touchdown run by Singleton. .40 yards, Falcons on the extra point. Vandenberg on the pressure, and a throw down the sideline and incomplete for Brendan Sullivan. Richard sophomore on the pressure, someone came across, the team penalty. 7-yard pass play, 10 first downs in the game. And his pressure again, Zariah Fisher with Penn State's 6th sack, way more quarterback pressures than that. The Fisher with the sack. He's got 2.5 sacks this year. And it's thrown up for grabs here, and inside coverage by Daquan Hardy. And a flag has come down. Bryce Kurtz was the intended receiver. Hardy had coverage.
Pass interference. Offense, number 17.
Wow.
That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Northwestern has 3rd down and 10 or longer. On 3rd and 18, Sullivan does well to elude the rush. He's got a blocker in front of him and steps out of bounds for a first down. Sullivan to throw. Vandenberg trying to collapse the pocket, denied Dennis Sutton, chasing. Oh, and just threw it right to Daquan Hardy, and Hardy's got a chance to go a long way. He is bumped out of bounds by Dom D'Antonio. one of the offensive linemen. Otherwise, that's a pick six for Daquan Hardy, who has his 5th career interception and number 2 this season, tacking one on to a previous interception in a game against Illinois. Now it's Bo Perbula in the game at quarterback. Well, Mike Pierce's raved about him yesterday, and his throw is right on the money. 2nd time in the end zone today for Trey Potts. He's running in, he catches that pass, and the lead grows to 40-13 with 2:20 left.
Brendan Sullivan, the ball carrier.
For Brendan Sullivan. Defense is what Manny Diaz told us that they had played yesterday. There have been moments when the secondary has shined, as you see this short running play here on 2nd down. Will pull this down and run and scramble for a 1st down and bounce off Zachy Wheatley. Hard hit from Wheatley. Von Ellie denied Dennis Sutton. King Beeman, Vandenberg, Adisa Isaac. Here's Vanover, Fisher with pressure, and finally Wiley. Go 3 deep on the Penn State depth chart before you see Keon Wiley in linebacker making a play. And here's a sack. Keon Wiley, another play made by Wiley. Wrapped up Sullivan on the sack.
And, you know, as an offense, you can sleep easy at night knowing with this Penn State defense, you're going to be in every game this year. They are that talented.
It is a final now. 41-13, the 6th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions scored 24 consecutive points at one stage in this game. They were down 10-3, but they go on to their 10th consecutive double-digit win, tying the school record for their longest streak. 41-13, 5-0 for the 6th-ranked Nittany Lions. Quarterback Drew Aller, defensive end Chop Robinson, all part of that performance today. And they hold them to Northwestern, that is, to under 200 total yards and less than 50 rushing yards at 7 sacks.